Are you experiencing issues with either your AirPods first or second generation AirPod Pros? This tutorial will show you how to eliminate most of those issues because it's probably not a hardware or a software issue. It's an issue of them being dirty and needing to be cleaned. There are some slight differences between the AirPods first and second generation for the Pros. The mesh screens are in different places. You have a mesh screen here on the first gen, and then a smaller one here on the second gen, and the ones in the back are similar. Now I'm going to show you the problem areas, the areas that are going to give you the most issues when they are dirty, and it is 3 areas of mesh. Now, of course, we're familiar with the mesh here behind the ear tip that you can take out. There is a protective mesh here that needs to be cleaned as well. The more crucial one is when wax and debris gets on this mesh for the speaker, and when this one gets filled with debris and earwax, this one actually doesn't look too bad. You'll notice muffled sound. You're just not going to notice a lot of the dynamic range of the music or whatever you're listening to. The second area, which is a huge concern when it gets dirty, is right here. And you can see there is earwax and other debris lodged in this mesh, which it helps with the noise cancellation and the transparency mode. And so that is probably going to be impacted. In fact, on my AirPods Pro second generation, this was happening. My transparency mode was not sounding very transparent. It sounded very muffled. It sounded similar to just having these in my ears and having those controls off. And here you have a smaller area of mesh on top, and then here on the side, the areas are pretty similar on the 2 models. And this mesh can get clogged as well. I've got a little bit here on my first gens that needs to be cleaned. One that's overlooked the most would be the microphones at the base of the stem, and there's a little slit here, and there's a teeny little mesh in there where it covers your microphone, and that is also very important, especially when you're talking on a video call or over the phone. This one is going to impact the way you sound to other people. So if they've been complaining they can't hear you clearly or you're muffled, chances are this is got some debris in it and needs to be cleaned. Now, the cleaning process is very simple, though I don't know why Apple released a video just a few days ago recommending that you use micellar water and then distilled water after. I would imagine the micellar water is an agent that can collect the debris in the mesh, and then the distilled water that you'd put on it would kind of rinse it away. I mean, that's a very dumbed down version of the process, but who has micellar water on hand? The common items that I have used that have worked really well for me is 70% isopropyl alcohol. Apple recommends that percentage amount. Q-tips, a lot of us have Q-tips, and an old toothbrush is really helpful, especially for cleaning the cases, but also the meshes here. So the technique that I generally use, and do this at your own risk, I'm comfortable doing it with my AirPods. Maybe you're not, because I know Apple early on recommended that you use a dry brush for cleaning these mesh areas on here. Recommended only a dry brush, and then in this recent video they're putting this micellar water on it as well as distilled water using a brush. And so I don't know, they must have had a change of thought on that. Anyway, using rubbing alcohol or this isopropyl alcohol has worked amazingly for me. And what I do is I just get my Q-tip a little bit wet, so I just get it damp with the alcohol, and then we'll do it on here because this one's a little dirty. I just kind of rub that in a little bit on the mesh, and this is where, and you can see there's some actually coming off already with this process. And this is where you could also bring in the toothbrush, getting the bristle action in here to get this clean. You can see that's looking a little bit better. Now, you may need to work at this for a little while with the brush, with the Q-tips, to just dislodge this debris, because it can definitely be stubborn in here. And you may need to gently go around the edges in here with your Q-tip. You can also find, you can see I'm getting even more off here, and this mesh is looking much better than what it was. You can work on the back mesh here. And the nice thing about the alcohol is it evaporates very quickly. In that video that Apple put out recently with the distilled water, they want you to have these sit for at least 2 hours after you clean them, because the distilled water is going to take much longer to evaporate. Now, when it comes to this microphone port, you can work your way with the Q-tip and the alcohol there. This is where the brush might be a little bit more effective. You can also get like a smaller bristled brush as well, if you don't want to use a toothbrush, if you have one around, and just kind of go through, go back and forth, cleaning these different mesh areas. You can even work on the main speaker area. That actually looks pretty good. And then while you're at it, you kind of clean off the body of the AirPod itself, possibly even in some of these seams where maybe some debris has collected. So to clean the tips, you simply take them off. You can begin by just gently putting your Q-tip inside of the ear tip, trying not to push too far down because you don't want to damage that mesh down there. Then I like to actually dampen the Q-tip with some of the alcohol, and then go and do this again, because it can grab it can soften a lot of that earwax, plus it gets that mesh in there a little wet. And then you can also do this from the back side, very gently, just kind of get that mesh wet with the alcohol, and that will help to soften the earwax and break it up a little bit. And you do this with each of the ear tips, and then you can get a little bit of water. You can also add some alcohol drops into here as well, and then you can just put it in there, submerge it for a few minutes, and really let that water work on the earwax and the other debris. You just want to make sure that these are dry when you go to put them back on the AirPods. Another thing that you can do if you want to kind of go to the next level, if you're not noticing much difference after this cleaning, it would be to actually blow through these mesh vents. So blowing through the bottom, the microphone vent can help blowing through this back vent, and then also the one here on the top. So you just gently blow through those and see if that affects the sound and the noise cancellation transparency mode. That's what I had to do extensively with my second generation when I was cleaning them today, was to be blowing through a lot of these because I couldn't get the transparency mode to fully come back. But after 2 or 3 times of doing that, it helped tremendously. So that's how you can really get the sound back and those controls back on the earbuds themselves. But on the case itself, again, using a mixture of your toothbrush, the alcohol, really helps you kind of get behind underneath these hinges back here, and then a Q-tip will help you get down inside where the stems go down, because that contact point there where it charges with your AirPod, you know, this metal strip around the bottom. So if your AirPods are having trouble charging, it could be that there's debris or earwax down in here at those contact points. Otherwise, you can go through, and this really does a good job of just cleaning the various areas of the case. And again, I've got some stubborn debris up here that I'll need to work on. But this case looked really bad earlier. Now my case, my Pro first generation case is much worse. And so just a combination of using my Q-tip on this, and a brush. You know, the brush will get a lot of the debris off. So a combination of that technique will help. Now I got some more work to do underneath the hinge here to get that debris out. It's definitely looking better. So that's how you can clean your AirPods Pros effectively to get those features back, like noise cancellation, transparency mode, just better sound, your microphone so that you can sound better to others. And so this tip has really helped me, and you can watch my other videos where I have other cleaning techniques for the AirPods first generation, AirPods 3. And so hopefully this has helped you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.